that's some.
She didn't want to do an executive session.
But she has a new hire.
Wow. And I'd like to have another 28.
But I know they're always on call and in training, so I like to take her. Pick her up while she's there, because the next thing you know, she's gone somewhere.
Live in Elaine, right? New. I don't want you to do that. We're still doing very beginning. And Fred and Gina. And that you did, because we got COVID.
Terry, was there something else you wanted to adjust the agenda? Talk about the town report. I know.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
Now I got it.
Oh, no. We don't have the.
I talked to Dan today, he said you hadn't been in, did you come in while you're on? Or?
No, I ended up with
He said he really enjoyed meeting and talking with you, I think it was very helpful.
yeah, I sent you a note yesterday. Couldn't get
Oh, really?
Matter of fact, sent me a note.
Oh, you did?
Like a lot of fire roads and bad. And then they sent me a note, already talked to John.
So what do you, oh, that's right. Right, I don't.
Send it.
I don't know. Oh, could you get it?
Oh, so maybe you can look at it.
Hi, Terry. How are you? Is she on her email? Oh, yeah. I haven't, I'm not, honest with you, I haven't done much, we pretty much meet up. One of us makes coffee, the other is very good in trash. We go over our place, go different places. If we're not in the house, we're at the hotel.
She's just not up to it.
Really, you had a bad time, huh?
So, and then, God, I don't think I can have that.
Oh, did you? And then the monkey on this thing, and it's. Yeah. I'm sure. The first person I knew.
Hey, can you hear me, Terry?
Or something.
Sure can, maybe.
The TV's on.
Oh, what happened to him?
I don't know. I don't think they've ever been.
Well, they were on when I left.
Oh.
Well, I'll take it here.
That stuff should all go away. Thank you, John.
Must be sick, right? Okay, I'm gonna call this meeting to order in the select board, 6 o'clock, June 7th. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Terry, do you have any?
The town report dedication, you want to add that?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna add
Town
that. Other
reports.
than that,
Okay, town reports are in, we're gonna announce the dedication. We didn't think they'd be here today, so which is why they're not on the agenda, but Bob or anything?
Nope.
Jeff?
Nope.
Jeff, I did want to ask you, when we get down to them, I have a question regarding the planning board report in the town report. And we can bring it up when we talk about the town report, so. Amy, are you, you here with your new hire?
I am.
Can we take you out of order? Because I know
That'd be
you
great.
guys are always maybe gonna get a call or. And we look up and you're gone. So, so we'll take that out of order first. Avery Mador?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Amy?
Hi. This is Avery. He just took my basic class out of the Belfast area. And he is working in St. George and would like to help in South Thomaston to rotate back and forth when needed, since we've got Jill out with maternity leave and a couple others. So I'll let him introduce himself and then you guys can ask him questions.
Hi, folks. My name is Avery. I was born up here, spent the last 15 years in Virginia, and came back. And now I'm here.
Yay.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Mador.
Okay. Questions?
Maybe you can let him know about EMS and your classes and if you want to.
So through high school, I took an EMS program and had a chance to run in Fairfax. Had some family stuff that we had to take care of, so I didn't have the opportunity to continue pursuing that. Saw the opportunity to come back home, right, and jump on it, and I'm really excited to be here. Really excited looking forward to working.
Okay, questions?
Thank you.
I have any, I normally ask what the attraction is, but he's home bouncing back and forth. He's really part of the one organization, really. So you're a basic and you're working on your advanced?
He is just taking his basic class past the hands-on, gonna do the written and then be in his advanced class coming up. Hopefully, I just got a grant for 3 paramedic students and as many advanced that want to, and 20 EMT slots in my classes coming up. So
Good. So are we hiring as a driver or as an EMT? I'm a little confused on that.
So he'll be hired as a driver and then just go into as an EMT after his written exam this month. So.
Okay. Motion?
I move to authorize the ambulance director to extend an offer to Avery Mador for a driver and soon to be an EMT.
Second. Further discussion? Where do you live, Avery?
So I live in Rangeley, but my folks have an office in like the Mexico Rumford area. So that's where I'm at right now. But I'm here for the commute.
Okay. So you must be staying down here. I mean,
Yeah, for the time that I'm working, I am staying down there.
that's about a 3-hour response. So.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a drive, but it is well worth it.
Okay. Welcome. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, folks. I really appreciate it.
Have a good evening. Amy, do you have anything else for us before you sign off, or?
Thank you, Avery.
Thank you.
I just wanted to let you know that we did get accepted to send somebody to medic school. So I'm looking at, I know Jill has been in advance and she's asked about applying to do medic school. So it's a $13,000 grant that we have gotten for South Thomaston to send somebody. It's going to cost us $1,200 to send somebody to medic school. So.
Great. You might want to hang around.
Don't let it leave.
Yeah, you might want to hang around just for a couple more minutes if you can. And you'll see why when the time comes.
Okay. And also gonna extend out for anybody that wants to take the advanced class in the South Thomaston area because we got a grant for that. And I'm looking at sending as many as we can to the EMT class, which I have 20 slots for free EMT services. So.
Oh, great. Okay. So,
Can I ask Amy a question?
sure. Go ahead.
So, Amy, are you unique or significant from most other services in that you seem to attract and retain lots of staff? Did you hear me?
Sorry, it went down for a second. What did you say?
Are you different or unique compared to other services? You seem to attract and retain a lot of staff members. in an area that I've read is, it's hard to get people.
Yes.
I'll agree with that, Amy.
We'll go with what Terry says. Yeah, I mean, I've been asked that question a couple times lately, and it's, I mean, maybe personality, maybe South Thomaston ambulance. So there we go. But I try to keep people, communication and all that stuff. So yeah. I know.
Okay.
Keep it.
I
bottom of-
guess you should ask them. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we did an adjustment to the agenda, which was to acknowledge that the town reports are here tonight, and we didn't expect them to be, and we wanted to announce this year's dedication. And I'm gonna ask Jeff to do that, since Jeff wrote the dedication that's in the town report. And I would ask Jeff, actually, I wouldn't mind if you would take a moment and read it, if you're so inclined.
This year's dedication is different from historical dedications. In the past, the town report has recognized residents, usually individual citizens, who have demonstrated lasting contributions to our town. This year, we are recognizing two large groups who have demonstrated heroic contributions to our town, and in many cases, to individual citizens in our town. The last few COVID years have been scary and stressful for everyone. But our ambulance crews and our firefighters have continued to risk their own lives and personal safety to come to our aid. So the members of our fire department, thank you for doing so much more than putting out fires. When you respond to a fire call, you could be asked to save a cat from a tree, deliver a baby on the side of the road, or save a child from an overturned vehicle. On other days, you could be rescuing a family from a burning house or running into the flames while everyone else is running out. You put yourself in harm's way so that you can keep others safe, and you are appreciated. For all the members of the ambulance department, you are often the difference between life and death. You are the calm voice amongst the chaos that says everything is going to be okay. You see us at our worst and our most vulnerable. You have made a difference in so many lives that your bravery, skill, and passion is seen in the lives you've saved. Thank you, each and every person who goes to work with the goal to save a life. You are all amazing human beings. In situations where our first responders are called, it's easy to forget that they are taking time away from their families to help ours. We want you to know that without you, the town we live in would not be the same. So when you see your local first responders, give them a wave or thank you for their service. And then it lists all the ambulance members. Fire.
Thank you.
Yeah, unfortunately, Brian, who often is at these meetings, is not here tonight because his son is graduating from high school, I assume. But anyway, so we just, since they came in today, we thought we'd take this opportunity to announce that and read it. So, any comments?
Thanks, as always, Amy and Brian, wherever you might be. South School, I guess.
Self-field,
Thank-
outside.
Yeah, I was in
Thank
the
you.
traffic.
So, Field, that's open public information now, obviously, so feel free to spread the word.
Thank you very much. And David usually is here, but he's now on a call, so sorry.
I know. Out there. We saw, unfortunately. So that's the way things work, because you're always might get a call. That's just what he's talking about. So, okay, let's move on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Public comments for items not on the agenda. Are there any public comments for items not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none. Terry, is this Mr. Hendricks?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so do we have another adjustment to the agenda then that you,
Yes, he wants to come and talk to us about, or talk to you about applications for catering for the on the
Yeah.
rocks bartending.
okay, I'm just adjusting the agenda yet, I'm not taking it up yet. Sorry, because you weren't on the agenda, but I'll take you up fairly quickly. But I do want to get through a couple of things here first, if I can. So let's get through the minutes, the 18th and the 24th. Do you want approval? Is there a motion?
I move we approve the minutes from May 18th and May 20th.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, actually, why don't we take Mr. Hendricks up out of order right at this point? So you basically do not have an application for catering in front of us, but you want to talk about the process?
I do
You do have one now, okay. It wasn't on the agenda. Do we want to deal with that tonight or put it on the next agenda? And I guess I understand the date is after our next meeting.
It's on the 25th. Yeah.
Okay, and we meet again on,
We're doing on the 21st.
21st, yeah. Personally, I'm hesitant to act on it where it wasn't on the agenda since we do have a meeting where we can act on it, but it's up to you guys.
Yeah, I think it would save you some heartburn. if we did it.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to show up today to
Okay,
get ourselves on the agenda for the 21st. Give you guys this, at least, take a look at, pretty much have everything ready for you guys to sign.
okay. And just so you know, for the future, you don't need to come to a meeting to get on the agenda. You can just carry.
Yeah,
I know it's the first time.
Special circumstance,
Yeah.
I just want to show up.
I got it. I'm just saying in the future, you can just call her
Yeah.
and submit the application.
Okay,
Okay, do you want to leave that with us then?
sure.
Or leave it with Terry, actually?
The only thing on this application that I don't have filled out is a dance license, which I believe Fire Marshal has sent an email to Terry. I
Yes,
guess,
He did,
He said he was gonna issue one. We haven't seen it yet,
right, but the fire marshal said he issued one.
right? Okay,
so we don't have proof of that license, so by the time, the meeting on the 21st, that should be all squared away.
Because that one was triggered by the event on the 18th, right? So,
So yeah, that's the only thing, the application that I wasn't able to fill out.
okay. Well, once either we can get that or you get it, if you do get it, call Terry and we can, with your permission, she can pencil it in or something on the application.
Okay.
Okay,
As far as the meeting on the 21st, will you guys hopefully be signing the application that day? Because I have to then send it to the
Yeah.
state. And hopefully we can get everything green light for the 25th.
assuming it's approved, and at this point, I don't see why it wouldn't be, but you never know until we vote. That's why we vote. So,
Okay.
okay,
Well, thank you for giving
Yeah.
me your time.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
take care. Okay, let's move on to the discussion of amending the remote meeting policy. And our state representative has told us that that had indeed a state statute authorizing remote meetings had indeed been amended. Terry gave us a copy of the amendments. The way I see it, one is actually explicitly gives us the authority that we already assumed we have, which was that this board could make a policy for all town committees, which I don't think it needed to explicitly say that, but it does now, so, and that's the way we interpreted it, so I don't think that has any impact at all.
Yeah, but I can tell you that a lot of lawyers were advising that it had to be.
I know, but that doesn't doesn't make a lot of sense to me though, when you have insurance issues that are controllable, you know, but anyway, it's a moot point right now, so. The other section, basically now says the body may limit public attendance at proceeding solely to remote methods if there is an emergency or urgent situation that requires the body to meet only by remote methods. So as I read this, and Jeff, you're kind of our expert on this, I think, having written that policy, but as I read that, that means that the chair, well, it does say the body, which would imply the whole committee, but I'll construe it liberally and say the chair can say there won't be any public allowed at the meeting other than remotely. Is that how you're reading it? Yeah.
It actually does two things. Before it said you can only do it if you follow the instructions of a separate paragraph. This just reiterates what's in that paragraph. So it just brings it all succinctly to this paragraph. But the other thing that it does is it gives you the authority to limit public attendance. It actually not just
In a personal sense.
right.
Not on a
You
remote.
can say we're only going to let 5 people. We can only let 10 people. This kind of gives you a little broader.
Although I think we should try to stay away from that if at all possible.
I think, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But I can see a circumstance where you need, say you want to talk to a couple of engineering experts or something. So you need them in the room, right, if you will.
Yeah.
But you don't need the, you know,
Other people.
yeah.
And and I don't know, maybe it was just happy chance. I think our policy reflects this almost exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do too.
I think
Yeah, I do too.
we may have been lucky, but I think we coincide with what they
Yeah.
clarified.
I would like to see us add a couple things to our policy, though. I would like to see us add, there's still nothing that requires that a body, if one member wants to not participate in person, and it's in person, we have encouraged the chairs to say, well, let's try to make arrangements to accommodate that person. But I would like to see us put that in policy, if a single member or two is not comfortable. And I'd also like to see us continue the practice of Zooming meetings to the public. I think it's really helped with participation and information dissemination, and people have commented to me very positively about it. So, and the third thing I'd like to see added is that if by chance you have a technological problem or other emergency issue, that it does not invalidate any action taken at that meeting if we require it to be remotely broadcast. But something we can think about. I can put my ideas a little more on paper.
Yeah, because I think it doesn't cover the technical issue, but I think it covers individuals.
Well, I didn't quite read it that way, but I can be convinced that I'm wrong, as I often am, according to my wife.
An illness or temporary absence of a member that causes significant difficulty traveling to the meeting location.
Right, but it doesn't,
So you're
that
saying-
allows the member to say they want to do it, but it doesn't require the body to accommodate that member, is how I read it.
Okay.
I think,
We'll make a that's right, you'll make a determination.
I think a word or two could change that.
Okay, okay.
But, so I have a few thoughts on that. I don't want to belabor it or wordsmith it tonight, but, and then I'd like to circulate it again to all the chairs and stuff and make sure everybody's comfortable with what we have, because I think there hasn't been some confusion about it, so.
Okay.
But
So
I think,
the,
go ahead.
so I think the case of remote only, to me, when I read that, I said, well, 2 select board members are traveling, they just happen to be traveling, and there's an emergency. So we all get on Zoom or just on the phone. So that's what this amendment to me, that was the first case I thought of that it was addressing. So the question is, that does apply to planning board and budget committee and everybody else, right?
Well, and that's what the second part of this amendment in statute does.
Right.
It gives the select board the explicit authority to enact a policy for all the boards under their, not under their, because we don't boss the planning board, so to speak, but we appoint them. And Jeff was saying before, there was some question in some lawyers' minds about whether each body had to adopt their own policy, which to me,
Knox County required each of their subcommittees and advisory committees and everything underneath them to adopt a policy that was almost identical to the one that the county had issued. They made each one of them because their lawyer said you have to.
yeah, but the key was that they required them. So what's the difference?
Right, that's right. Yeah, yeah, they didn't give them out there because, in fact, I was on one of those committees and I said, we don't want to do this.
Yeah, I just think that's a recipe for confusion. I mean, I think we just have one town policy, it's easier for Terry to explain it to everybody. Okay, so we good with that for now, so we'll put that on the agenda for next time. Okay, do we have any progress on the acceptable use agreement? Have you heard from Gus at all? You have
No,
not.
it's hard to get on the phone and I emailed, but I haven't heard the email back.
And nothing from the technology committee?
No,
And Jeff, you were gonna take a stab at.
I think our policy covers all the critical bases. And there's a lot of areas in the suggested policy that either don't apply to us or are more complicated than what we really need. So I would like either Gus or the technology committee to convince me that we need to change our policy.
I agree with you, Jeff. There was a lot of things that just didn't fit. So.
Well, This came from risk management, our insurer.
Yep.
Should we submit our current policy to them and,
Oh, yeah.
and ask them if
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
sufficient?
That's a good.
And then we can just put this to bed if they say yes. Unless there's something in there that somebody feels we should have.
Yeah, did that, when they submitted that, did they say, conform or else?
No, it's just strongly recommended.
And I'll bet it was a shotgun, and they don't even know what policies we already have in place. And so they're saying, this is a question that's coming up now with everything going on, so we think everybody should do this. And they don't even know what we already have. So I think that's a real good idea. Send it to them and say, this is good.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can send them and say, this is a policy, it's currently in place, we've had it for years, we haven't had any issues, is there any shortcomings in it that would make it not acceptable to you? Or, you know, they'll find something.
Well, and occasionally in the techie world, what they'll do is there'll be one boogeyman that they're wanting to close the gap on. And they'll hide it. They won't make it the lead story, they'll stick it in there. And so all of this is to catch this one thing. So,
Okay, so we're good? So, we don't need to take a motion on that, Terry, do that, do we? Okay. So why don't we keep that in the agenda too? Bylaws of the South Clemson Library and Community Center Auxiliary. Everybody hopefully has had a chance to look at them from last week. We did get an email with some comments from Yay that I guess came out of the facilities committee meeting held on, I don't know when was that?
It was last Thursday.
June 2nd, maybe?
Yep.
Actually, there were two comments. One was questioning the wording of the warrant article, not so much the bylaws. I went back and looked at it, and I think the warrant article is fine. I think it authorizes two things. One is to see if the vote will authorize the select board to incorporate the nonprofit corporation. And the other is to see if the town meeting will authorize the town to hold an appropriate funds. I guess I don't, I see that as two different things. It strikes me as one action is taken by the select board, second action is holding the funds, the town's holding the funds, not the select board. If anybody's holding them, it's the treasurer,
Yeah.
not the select board. So, so I don't have an issue with number one, but you guys?
No, I reread both of them again to see if I could figure out what it was, and
I mean, I get his point.
yeah, I understand his point, but,
Yeah.
but I think I think it's almost.
Walter?
No, first of all, I didn't understand the first sentence of the comment, because it's, to me, it's,
Excuse me?
Hang on a second, let Walter finish.
yeah, I thought the warrant article is self-explanatory as is.
Okay. Yeah, comment?
I attended that meeting, and from what I recall, the discussion was about the placement of one. And they were arguing that the one should be placed after the select.
Yes, right, exactly. That's clear. But I don't think, that's my point. I don't think that's an issue. I think one is authorizing the select board to do something, and two is authorizing the town to do something.
But the way where one was, is like it's the town that's authorizing everything.
It
It
is.
is.
The town.
Okay, so
The
if that's.
town, in one case, is authorizing the select board to do one thing, and in the second case, it's authorizing the town as a whole. And perhaps it should have said the treasurer.
Yes.
But it didn't, but I think that I'm comfortable with it, I mean, because the town is holding the money.
Right.
Not the select board, and really not even the treasurer, it's the town's money, I mean, the money is in the town's account, not an account of the select board, or not an account, so. I'm comfortable with it.
And it is the town telling us, giving us the authority and giving themselves.
So I think there will be questions as to how the financing works, because the checks that are donated will be made to the nonprofit corporation, so
You
as
can't
such,
spend it.
what's that?
You
They
can't spend it.
Well, she's not on it.
Well, I know.
No.
But the
But
nonprofit
then,
can't.
so does the nonprofit bank account, is the town bank account?
No, you have to turn it over to the town.
Well, the nonprofit has to turn it over to the town.
That's right.
I mean, the nonprofit's not gonna contract with a digger to dig a cellar hole, the town's gonna have to, so the nonprofit, if the town needed money to do that, then the nonprofit would convey that money to the town to pay.
So I think all that
some of
functioning was not clear with the committee.
Yeah, I think they keep forgetting that their purpose is to raise money,
Money.
not to contract with
Not to spend.
diggers or, but, we'll see.
And the bylaws kind of spell out that they can spend some money.
Right.
They can spend it for administrative support, for advertising, those things, the support kind of functions. But they can't contract for any work to be done. That has to be
the
done.
town property,
It
right?
has to be the town that does it. And what the change in the bylaws did was originally the bylaws had said every year.
Yeah.
Every year, you would take money and hand it over to the town. They just eliminated that. Whenever it's appropriate to hand money over, then this entity will hand the money over to the town.
So, okay, so that's number one, so we're all comfortable there. And then,
Yeah, that's what we just.
And the second one is just what Jeff just talked about, is that we change that every fiscal year, turn the funds over to basically when the game is over.
yeah, and so basically, the question, as Gabe puts it in here, is, somewhere, wondered if it would put in conflict with item 2 in the warrant article, which reads that which reads to hold and appropriate all funds raised by said account and paid over to the town. And to me, the word is, key word there is and. it's raised by the corporation and paid over to the town. If it didn't have that, then I think it would be an issue, but since it has that, it's gonna meet both those conditions, so I think we're good there. And I think it clearly, the question is, does the warrant article require funds, all funds raised by the corporation paid over to the town? Well, clearly it doesn't, because as you just said, they can spend money on administrative purposes, so that, but even beyond that, I think it's the money turned over beyond that would be for specific purposes, having to do with the project. So I think we're fine personally, but I do. But I'm really glad they're looking at it so closely.
me too.
I think that's great. And actually, if there's no objection, I'll call Gabe and talk to him about our discussion here tonight.
Yeah.
And then if he still has issues, we can talk about it on the 21st, because this article is not an ordinance. So if all of a sudden an aha light bulb goes off in our head based on the conversation with Gabe, we could change it at town meeting. It's not an ordinance.
It's gonna be amended.
Right. Amendment. Okay. So. So with that in mind, if no one objects, I'm gonna skip to the town meeting warrant. And the town meeting warrant that's in the town report is a draft. We don't meet again prior to 7 days, or just 7 days prior to the town meeting. So if everybody's ready and comfortable, I would accept a motion to execute this draft warrant that Terry has put in front of us. And we still could change it. We would have to call a special meeting, but we still could change it, so. And if everybody's ready to do that, I am. So.
I'm ready to move that we approve the warrant as presented.
Second.
Okay, further discussion. So we have a total of 29 articles. We checked it, double checked it. I'm sure someone will still find a little mistake in it. We always do. I will remind you of a couple of things. This does not include that article to provide a discount on taxes. We're all aware of that. Further discussion?
Article 22, which is exceed the levy limit.
Yeah.
I guess we never have put any, note that says the select board suggests that you vote this down. I always mention that.
Well, I don't, personally, I think it's premature to do that because we don't.
Until we get to the end of it. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
I mean, if they raise $1 million,
Yeah.
then I don't want to recommend we vote it down.
That's right.
Because we're gonna be short. Okay.
But would you do that at the meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, we have in effect, we traditionally said, no need, please vote this down, there's no need.
Okay.
Yeah. Although 1 year, I think years ago, we did have to.
We did.
Yeah.
We did 1 year.
Yeah.
And I think we reset the base. Is what I think.
Yeah.
I can't. But the interesting, when our moderator usually talks about it, he talks about the rules that he's going to go by.
Yeah.
There is an interesting point in those rules that says that whoever moves to approve has to vote to approve. So if you move, you technically are required to vote yay. But we've never
Yeah.
done that. So
Well, that's his call on our.
that's exactly right.
And the body could challenge him.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think Penny's been through moderator training. Does that ring a bell?
Well, no, not specifically, but is it
Robert.
If you
Well,
have
we don't
to-
use Robert's rules.
I thought we did.
No, he
I
uses
thought it-
the main. he uses
Okay,
the-
never mind.
Uses the main moderator.
And I,
Whichever.
I thought he said Robert.
But is
He
the
says modify
specific,
Robert.
what if someone moves the question? Does that mean it's moving approval?
No, when they move to question, it means stop.
Vote.
Yeah, no. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Move the question just means no more debate. I don't want
Right.
anybody else to talk about
Which
So
I,
if they move the question, then they don't have to vote for it.
it. No, no. It's,
well,
by Robert's rules, the first person who moves for an article and makes any kind of a motion has to say yes.
and it may be in the main moderator's rules too. I haven't looked. No, I can't. 'cause That's his
And
problem.
I haven't looked at the main moderator. I have to admit.
Or her
Look at
problem.
Robert's rules.
Yeah,
Are you gonna have a pre-meeting with Mike?
I wasn't planning on it. Is there anything you think that?
Well, 2 years ago, he presented the budget article as capped,
Oh,
and that was, poor Rich Norman wanted to increase something, and Mike wouldn't let it. And that's wrong.
It is, with the exception of one article in there.
Right.
Well, yeah, we can go with that with him, and the other thing we need to remind him of is that you can't nominate someone for select board or RSU 13 from the floor. The nomination process is over. You can urge someone to write someone in, but you can't nominate someone.
Yeah, that's how he handles that.
Yeah.
He says it's not a nomination.
Right. So, you know, we can have a quick pre-chat with him. I don't think there's not, I mean,
the only other thing that he usually wants to get clear is how to do the money articles, whether or not they're automatically moved in second.
that's how he usually handles it. Yeah.
Yeah, because the select board
And
and
the budget committee.
the budget committee are the movers and the seconders. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Will you send him a copy of the?
Yeah.
Yeah. And let him know if he's got any questions at all to call you. No.
Get a line behind the Hendricks kid.
All right. Did we do it? Did we vote?
No.
You didn't vote.
Okay, we need to vote. All those in favor?
Uh,
So we need to sign it.
And I actually have 2 copies here. One's, I put the attested at the bottom because once I PDF it, it's hard to type on something. I don't have a typewriter to add those words, so if you could sign them both, would be great.
Yeah.
Well, I do have a typewriter, I shouldn't say that, but it's way back in the closet.
Well, you need to sign it to attest it anyway.
Perfect.
Just take a second and do that. It's probably the most important thing we do every day. Oh, could you be, Terry, why I'm thinking of it? We have to, the town has to update its participation in the flood insurance program every so often. And I don't think they've done that in a while.
I know, but I would vote against it.
But it's very important to a lot of people in this.
Yes. That's something you have to do with the state.
You have to update your participation in the federal flood insurance program every periodically, I think it's like once every 5 years or 10 years, and I just don't recall us doing it in a long, long time.
I remember something when John Snow was back there,
Yeah.
that there was a lot of in and out of people coming in and not liking the new maps.
That's when they changed the maps, but I just hate to find that all of a sudden we get a letter saying we're disqualified from the flood insurance program, because that means anybody who has flood insurance program doesn't have it. Just one of those things in the back of my head. Okay, discussion regarding creating a recreation committee. We've kicked this around a couple of times. I did a little quite a bit of research, actually, state statutes, and the main municipal offices, municipal association, municipal offices manual. I found no statutory reference to a recreation committee anywhere. I don't believe there is. Many towns have them, and basically, from what I read in the main manual, was that the selectmen certainly have the authority to create any committee they wish. And then they go on and have a discussion that typically an ad hoc committee is a committee that has a project with a date certain or an end certain. And an ongoing committee would be a committee that would be just that, ongoing, until it was an affirmative vote to disband or get rid of the committee. And it suggested that ongoing committees, the statutes don't require it, but they would recommend that ongoing committees be created by town meeting as opposed to, but they have said there were many instances where that's not the case, and certainly no one has ever challenged that, particularly if it's just an advisory committee. So statutorily, it seems to me we have the authority to create a recreation committee. And then the other thought I had is, I thought before we went through the process of creating another committee, I was thinking that maybe we should do two things. One is wait for a new select person, whoever that may be, to come on board and gather his or her thoughts. And number two, let's send out a notice, and because we're having such a hard time getting volunteers for all the committees, with maybe one or two exceptions, and see if there's interest out there. Because I personally think we're looking for a committee. I don't think we need another committee to kind of sit back and to make comments like, well, you could do that. No, you could do that, is what I'm interested in. And so I'd like to fashion the solicitation, see if there's interest in reaching out to sort of true volunteers who are willing to put their gloves on and do things. I don't know, Penny, if that's what you had in mind when you brought this up. But I don't think we need more administrators with good ideas. But- But
Though I think that, they could also research and bring back information.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm not making fun of that. It's getting a little tiresome to hear people say, well, you could do that. Because my retort now is, no, you can do it.
Well, a couple of years ago, when it was said that we needed a playground inspector, I had found someone willing to do that, and it turns out we didn't really have to have one, but I mean, there are people out there willing to.
Yeah. But I'd like to find out if, put something out there. So those are my thoughts. Other thoughts?
Makes sense.
All right.
Initially, we do it by the newsletter, but we can also do.
Well, newsletter's on.
Right.
I meant the email.
Oh, yep.
Oh, yeah. And I think we could put something at a little blurb at town meeting, and maybe it'll get, we put out sheets for planning board, appeals board, nobody signed them. Budget committee,
We could make a little appeal during town meeting.
yeah, that might help. But, anyways, other thoughts or? Okay. You're good with that? I am. So Terry, I'll draft up a little something and then I'll circulate it to you two and we can put it out on the email blast and then maybe have it at town meeting as well. But it's just not a blank sign-up sheet, but it explains a little what we're looking for. So,
Yeah, level of interest.
okay. Consider authorizing town attorney to Collins to send associate to the next planning board meeting. Jeff, I'm gonna ask you to lead the discussion on this, but I would ask one question. Is Irv aware of this? Irv?
Yes.
And he's aware that we were discussing it tonight and,
Yes.
Okay, because he's a couple times had an issue with me for not letting him know something was on the agenda, so.
Yeah, matter of fact, in the same note I sent to the contact person. Direct, she wanted to talk to me.
Okay. So do you want to present what you're,
So Dan and I and Kristen sat down and discussed some of the issues that are associated with the Wilson business.
you got a mosquito, right? You're buzzing right around there.
And there are some legal snakes associated with it. And some very specific things that the planning board should consider and watch as they're dealing with any kind of an application that comes out. And so she wanted to be there, but it didn't look like the dates that we originally thought it was going to be. She was not going to be there. I don't know if she could be there on the 23rd, but if she's not going to be there, she wants to send one of her associates there, just to help the planning board negotiate any permit application.
Okay, and do you know if we have a permit application yet?
Not to my knowledge.
No, I don't think we do.
But we are anticipating, I mean, for lack of a better word, the deal that was made with the planning board and Travis was that he would submit some sort of permit application or something
Right.
for the 23rd.
For the June.
For the June meeting, sorry.
Yeah, which originally was going to be
Next
16.
Thursday.
But now it's the 23rd.
Now it's 23rd. So they are anticipating, Dan is anticipating. I think Dan made a visit out.
He said it, that's where it's headed.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it. So, Walter, thoughts?
I approve of Kristen's request.
Yeah, I do too. I think this is a complicated situation. We have an inexperienced CEO. And it involves a couple of different lots, and we know we have at least two neighbors who are unhappy. We have, in the midst of this, there's been a zoning change in that area.
Actually, two, since he's started.
Well, okay,
Yeah, so
that's even more complicated. And I just think that this is one of those cases where I'm not a big fan of spending a lot of legal money. I think this is one of those situations where this could prove, what is it, penny wise and pound foolish. So I would favor two. I just wanted to make sure that Curtis was aware, that Irvin was aware of it, and I also don't think. I guess I'd like to. I assume that if there is no permit application, would this still take place? Is there, I don't.
Something will have to take place because he's obligated to come in to the June meeting.
But just with a sort of just a little handshake deal he made with the planning board, though, right? I mean,
Well,
The
thing is,
board.
Yeah.
He doesn't come in, then there's immediate action
Okay.
by the CEO.
Did you have a comment?
The way we wrote our bylaws, I mean, the first meeting is supposed to be a review of the application and discussion, and the approval doesn't happen until the following meeting after that.
Yeah, but,
Right.
yeah. But we don't know for sure if there is an application.
Yeah, I know,
That's what
I've
we're
not
talking
seen
about.
anything, so.
No, I don't think there is, and yet you still have time. What does it have to be in?
7 days prior.
Yeah. Okay, so, is there a motion to authorize,
So moved.
further discussion? I guess I would just ask you to coordinate with Kurt, or with Irv and Dan and,
Yeah, she asked specifically to make sure
Yeah.
that she's gonna spend more money.
okay, all those in favor? Aye. And while we're on it, I wanted to ask another question about the planning board. I just was quickly looking at this town report, and on the planning board report, to my surprise, it says, February 17, 2002, the planning board bylaws were updated to include the butter notifications. I thought we were still in the middle of that process.
Yeah, they have not.
But it says right in here that they have. So I thought that I missed something, because now they have to come in front of the select board for final approval. And the last I knew, you had given comments back to Irv. Correct. Fairly extensive comments, and they haven't met since, I don't believe, since you gave us comments back. That's good. So I was like, what?
And he pen and inked, but he didn't send me a copy of it. The comments you and I had made to it specifically, and was gonna take it to the rest of the planning board.
So I was more than a little surprised to see that in there. Okay. I actually read it. Top report. Okay.
And a fine job you did on our report.
All right. Well, I think, I don't know, do we need to find out what he's talking about there, or?
Well, I know what they're talking about. They thought they had approved. So,
All right. This seems like it's been pulling teeth to get this through, but, okay, accept a donation to the fire department. Bob Levine made a $2,000 donation to the fire department. After he was rescued from the mudflats near the Spruce Head Bridge, I might donate $2,000. Is there a motion?
I move to gratefully accept Mr. Levine's $2,000 donation to the fire.
second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
So, and while we're on the fire department, just real quickly, for the public's benefit, I just want to remind people that the fire department is holding a meeting here Thursday night, 2 nights from
Yes.
tonight
Yep.
at
6.
to discuss the warrant article regarding the acquisition or possible acquisition of 2 new fire trucks. Walter, you said you were planning to attend,
I will go, yeah.
and you were hoping to, depending on your situation. I will come as long as they have a quorum at the Griswold meeting. If they don't, I feel I gotta go down there, because they all just basically have to drive down there and then go home because they don't have a quorum. So I suppose I could drive down, they could say they have a quorum, and then I could leave. So, if I'm not there, I apologize.
We
I'm
just
gonna
need
say
to agree not to talk.
We can talk to them, but not to ourselves.
Right. Because then we become a select board, right? Actually, an illegal select board. Okay, we did the new hire correspondence. We have that post-census group quarters review. Evidently, there's been a lot of fanfare around the country where group living quarters have been supposedly undercounted. Group being nursing homes, prisons, job corps centers, things of that nature. It won't, corrections that are made as a result of this program, as I understand it, won't change the census for apportionment purposes, but it could change it for, potentially for funding, stuff like that. But I don't believe we have any group homes in South Thompson, but I just wanted to put it out there, because sometimes someone will say, oh yeah, we got.
I don't think so.
Anybody aware of any group living quarters in South Thompson?
The issue that always came up was the seasonal workers at Atlas. I don't know if they.
Oh, I don't know if they still do that, do
I don't know.
Yeah, and weren't a lot of them Canadians,
they? Yeah, they were-
Norwegian.
yeah,
Wow.
they were.
so they wouldn't be counted, unless they had green cards, they wouldn't be counted anyway, would they? Oh, I don't know, maybe they would.
I assume
Yeah,
they
they
had
would be,
green
yeah,
cards.
yeah. Well, no, you can have a work, temporary work visa.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not aware of any, But I just wanted to make sure, you know. I know, okay. So I don't think we had to respond or anything, it was just a letter saying, if you have new phones, but you look like you got a comment.
Well, you should tell them that,
Yeah,
that you're the man now, not me.
okay.
They've been sending me those things since
Yeah.
2009.
Yeah, and they're probably gonna for another 3 years. You
Well.
realize.
Yeah, we can tell them all. day
I'll send them right to you.
We can tell them all day
Or your
long to send
successor.
this to Terry.
Yeah, actually, it probably should go to Terry, because it takes so long to get it changed. Then you can forward it to whoever the chair is, because
That's true.
who knows, in 6 days, I may not be there. Not 6 days, 20 days. Okay, and didn't we have another correspondence?
I think so.
Yeah, we had the
We
correspondence.
had the correspondence with Sarah Davis or somebody, Sarah
Evans,
Evans.
Oh, yes.
saying that they finally agreed with you, that they do not need a BYOB permit because it's not open to the public, which was the first thing in the law about when a BOB permit was required. So I can think of a few places over the years, though, that probably should have had BOB permits, but, so that's put to bed. We got our warrants, which we'll sign. So next meeting, we're gonna discuss the tax acquired property law. Discussion with Chief Collar involving the fire department and planning, board processing of permits. The 2 items we talked about tonight, I think it was 2, right? Acceptable use and remote policy. Hang on 1 second, so I don't lose my train of thought. Go ahead, you have a comment?
I just have a question about the remote meeting policy. It's only for committee members requesting a Zoom event. It couldn't be members of the public saying, I want to attend this meeting, can't be there, don't want to be there. Can you hold a Zoom for me?
Yeah, no, I mean, they could ask for that, but the policy doesn't require that, and I don't anticipate that it would, but I personally would like to make something into the policy that encourages all our meetings to be held that way. But I don't want to get into the point where we have to, just because one person asked for it, particularly if we have 2 meetings on the same night, and whatever, so.
Especially with somebody from the public, because the reason we need Zoom versus broadcasting on the web is that the interaction that's possible on Zoom. So the only time we have public interaction is if there's public comment or it's somebody that we have asked to speak to.
Well,
So the public doesn't generally have a right to speak at our meetings.
Well, no, but we do have items that ask for public comment down on the agenda.
Yeah,
And so if you're a member of the public that says, I have a comment that I'm going to want to.
yeah. Well, you can also comment, right?
Which is what we did rather do.
Yeah.
We'd rather encourage, they send it in to be part of the agenda as opposed to springing it on the public.
On the board, on the
And
committee,
on the board.
whatever. Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, that would be nice, but, I mean, that's something we can consider. But I personally am not sure I want to have one person driving the train if you're driving the bus, so to speak. But having said that, I personally feel the irony of all this is when this law was first enacted, the legislature thought it was gonna dampen participation. And it's had the exact opposite. It's exploded participation. And I'd like to see all our boards and committees meet utilizing Zoom personally.
I'd like to see them all public too.
What do you mean publish?
Meeting.
Actually, I thought they were.
They're not.
Oh, really?
Only the select board,
only out.
planning board are.
Oh,
Conservation Commission and the schools, the library futures.
So what isn't?
Conservation Commission
Isn't?
is
Oh, I
not,
thought you just said it was.
no,
That's,
is not,
that's
and
all I wanted.
also the library community center. are
is
not.
not? Oh, I thought you just said both. of
They
them.
have been, but they're not, they've been published only when in conjunction with the select board.
Is that a big deal to throw them on?
They just have to click the button.
No, to put them on the YouTube. Is that, I mean,
Oh, you
They're
mean,
there.
you mean take them off Zoom and put them on?
well,
YouTube?
I don't know how you do it.
That's-
Is that a big deal to put the?
It's not a big deal, it's complicated, but it
It
could be
is.
done.
But it's better.
Right, if they
to
just do it
Say,
like,
go live.
right, like we are now.
35 seconds away,
Oh,
but
see, I just thought they were.
they are not
Oh,
necessarily.
well. I didn't know that. I thought they were. I thought once you did them on Zoom, they automatically were.
No.
You have
You
to,
have to,
click the
you have
button
to
in
click the
the corner.
link.
So can we get so let me understand this. The select board is, the planning board is, the appeals board never meets. The budget committee is?
when we had it on Zoom, we
Yeah,
were,
yeah.
we were there.
Because they were with
Yeah.
us.
Were they when they didn't meet with us?
Had they,
Yeah, they met.
oh,
to
yeah,
do
because
their
I did
minutes.
it, yeah.
Okay. What else do we have? The library community center is not.
From the penny. I'm not, I don't. do
Actually, I was gonna watch that the other.
I don't do their Zoom meetings,
Okay, and the conservation commission is not.
and I don't do their Zoom meetings.
Okay, is that all our committee?
Our cemetery.
Cemetery committee, they never meet,
Very ad hoc needed.
but they don't even record. Record,
They're
or
not
have minutes or anything,
organized.
huh?
They're not an organized committee. Yeah. Just try.
But,
I think to do the Zoom, so there is the issue of the computer, you know, if there is a meeting and the computer is not there, how are we supposed to do a Zoom transmission?
It's-
see, you're talking to the wrong person, I don't have a
I
clue.
set it up with Theo, I came down and I showed her how to use it, and, that's all you have to do, and leave it here, and I'll pick it up in the morning.
So, when you say publishing it, does that mean, I'm sorry, does that mean that,
There's a little button here that says more, and you click it, and it says go to YouTube, and you click on, it's just
oh, okay,
automatic.
but I mean, as far as the Zoom, you can record the Zoom meeting,
The Zoom meeting's recorded, yes.
right, and, but if that is not published to the public, or it's available to the public, I'm not clear.
No, it's not.
It's just, oh.
It's not what, it's not available or not
It
public?
could be, I mean, I can send someone a link.
So it sounds like you're saying is people just not, it isn't getting done, we have, we can do it, it just isn't getting done.
We can't, I have difficulty taking the Zoom video and putting it over into YouTube so
Okay.
people can see it in YouTube.
So it would be a lot easier if people just, when they started their meeting, they just push this button and it'll all happen automatic.
Yes,
Okay.
I
In a
think
perfect
a
world.
nice page of instruction, you know, like that could be.
Yeah. But who's gonna write? It's not gonna be me.
But that's the thing, a person who knows how to do all the steps, that's to do the.
Yeah, but it sounds like it's simple.
It's just, I think, so in other words, we do record our Zoom, our conservation commission meetings, but we don't put them on YouTube anywhere.
no, you don't.
No,
No, so,
Right.
okay, but that's just fine, I mean, because we have access to the recordings.
yeah, but
But
the public
everyone
would like
else
to see it, nobody else does.
Yeah, no, I understand
Yeah.
that.
And people could participate, so you have one meeting tomorrow night, maybe you could try it.
Yeah, well,
You won't be here, but
So, but I can, if you want to come in,
you're on the conservation commission, right? You're a techie.
she said no.
And I thought you were a techie.
No, she doesn't talk to you.
I am, but like,
All right, that is right here, it's very clear, turn both TVs on the remote. Plug in speaker.
Well, you're here at 5 anyways. Are you here tomorrow?
I'm out of here at 5.
Yeah.
I'm here
But I
at
mean,
5.
I'll
Yes,
be
if
here
you come in.
If somebody
come in
came a few
early,
minutes early, you
yes,
could
it's
start
easy.
it, and
Yeah,
then
we can-
once they do it,
Yep.
never need
No,
to do it.
it's easy as long as it works.
Yeah, I
Last
understand,
time it was my husband who did it.
I understand. And that's why I wanted to put in the policy that any action, if we did do this, and any action that was taken, if there was a technical problem, that it wouldn't invalidate any action taken at that meeting. So, huh?
Yeah, we need that.
So, so the only other group we gotta work with is the library and facilities committee. And I can't believe Gabe.
And Gabe is technically competent.
Yeah, Gabe would handle that.
Sandy's not bad either.
Was the computer there last Thursday? I don't think it was.
Well, I don't think anybody asked for it.
Well, that's the key.
Well, I know, but see, I don't know.
This is a tech room. It would be nice to have a dedicated computer staying in this room.
Well, you can't just leave a computer in this
Yeah.
room.
Well, again, there are ways to do this. I mean, it's like,
I think it's just a matter of someone, the chair calling Terry and say, we got
Oh,
a meeting.
and
today."
the Conservation Commission did not lock the door when they left last time, so that's another thing that you need to do when you leave.
I mean, I think Penny has always done the, as
I
far as I
have,
know, she's
yeah.
done the library one.
I have, and although I told them I wasn't able to come to the last meeting, they did not make other arrangements.
Well, now I'm confused. I thought you said they weren't.
The Zoom part,
Oh. I'm staying out of this conversation. Because I honestly don't understand.
well, my simple wish is that these are, if they're going to Zoom, that they be public.
I thought they all were.
I know.
I thought we were way beyond.
I think there has been some thought helplessness, because if from the beginning it had been clear that somebody, besides Penny had to be responsible for the computer in each committee, that we wouldn't be here today.
But it has to be on this computer? Or can it be on any computer?
If you got Zoom, you can go on it.
Yeah, you can do Zoom on
I mean,
it.
I could happy to bring my own computer.
That's why I always thought that every,
Oh my God.
every committee person has someone that has a laptop, that I just
Well, but
assumed
you see,
they
but
took care
none
of.
of this has been explained. It's
No,
like it seemed like you needed a special password or whatever.
That's what I
To get
thought too. Okay.
Yeah, you do, but
would,
you can
yeah.
do it on any computer. I can give the password out.
Oh my God.
But it's like,
That'll be something.
I mean, I gave it to you, Theo, to get on that night.
I know, but I thought I would to get on your computer.
Well, we're all learning here. It's
Yeah,
new
no,
and,
okay, so I
and I guess a lot of us just assume, I certainly assumed that they were all being done now.
I assumed that everyone was taking care of their stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, no one said they needed anything, so.
Yeah. So I guess, and Irv's okay? Irv?
Well, they
They
haven't
haven't
met in a long time. And Jean Marie did their
Yeah,
January and February, and they didn't meet March and April.
so they may not be all set.
But I'm gonna be there with Crystal the first couple meetings.
Okay.
Except I don't think I can be there the 23rd, but we'll work that out.
Okay. Well, let's just say the goal is to get them all Zoomed live. And we'll have to
record it.
record it, and we'll have to work on the technicals. Yeah. And I think it's great. I think it helps the committees. I think the public is interested in it. And so, and I apologize for assuming, I just made that assumption. Okay, we have an executive session. We do. I'm requesting we all meet an executive session on another matter, which shouldn't take long. So I would accept, oh, wait a minute, let's go to the scheduled meeting. So we have one, the 21st, town meeting is the 28th, and we have set a meeting for July 12th. And that will include appointments. Terry, are you gonna check to make sure anybody who's expiring in an appointment wants to be reappointed?
Crystal has sent out emails. She said there was one person that wasn't coming back.
Didn't want to be reappointed? Okay, so let's just make sure, because in the past, I know we've sometimes reappointed people and then they come in after and said, I don't want to be reappointed because they didn't tell us before.
Yep, we're looking at that.
Okay, so is there a motion to amend the executive session?
Is it a personnel thing?
Yes.
I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to MSRA 403, section 6A.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Walter, who's gonna say that when you're gone?
I made a copy of it.